The most dangerous people are not the ones who hate you. They are the ones who understand you too well. They are the ones who know that beneath your pride, your logic, and your social armor, you are a creature of predictable impulses and fragile ego. Power in its truest form is silent. It doesn't demand attention. It quietly redirects it. Imagine walking into a room and knowing that every conversation, every reaction, and every decision made within those walls is being subtly guided by your presence. Most people go through life as spectators, reacting to the world. A strategist, however, understands that the world is a canvas, and people are merely the paint. Today, we are going to explore the 10 dark psychology tricks that allow you to control anyone silently. These are not tools for the faint of heart. They are the secrets of the emperors, the con artists, and the masters of the social game. We will dive into the psychological studies that prove why these work. From the Milgram experiment to the subtle art of cognitive dissonance, we will look at history, seeing how figures like Napoleon and Machiavelli used these very principles to bend nations to their will. By the time this lecture is over, you will never see human interaction the same way again. You will start to see the strings, but a word of warning: once you know these truths, you cannot unknow them. You will see them being used on you by your boss, your partner, and your government. The question is, will you continue to be the one being moved, or will you become the one holding the invisible strings? If you are ready for the truth that society tries to hide, then listen closely. If this insight opens your eyes, hit that like button so the algorithm knows you aren't afraid of the light. Let us begin with the first layer of silence, the strategic silence, the unbearable weight of the void. In a world that cannot stop talking, silence is a weapon. Most people feel a primal, biological urge to fill any gap in conversation. This is rooted in social anxiety, the fear of being judged, or the discomfort of uncertainty. When you stop talking, you create a vacuum, and physics dictates that a vacuum must be filled. In a negotiation, in an argument, or even in a casual date, the person who speaks first after a long pause is usually the one who loses power. Think of a corporate setting. Your boss asks you why a project is late. Most people start rambling, making excuses, and accidentally revealing their insecurities. But what happens if you state a single, concise sentence and then simply stop? You look them in the eye and let the silence hang for 5, 10, 15 seconds. The discomfort they feel will force them to start talking to relieve the tension. In their attempt to fill the void, they will often talk themselves into a corner, reveal information they didn't intend to share, or even lower their demands just to make the awkwardness go away. Socrates used this. He didn't just lecture, he asked questions and waited. He forced his students to confront the emptiness of their own logic through the weight of silence. It is a form of psychological pressure that leaves no fingerprints. If you are learning something new about the power of your own restraint, drop a brain emoji in the comments. But what happens when you combine this silence with a small, calculated request? That brings us to our next secret, the Ben Franklin effect, the cognitive dissonance of kindness. It sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? If you want someone to like you, or more importantly, to feel a sense of loyalty to you, you should ask them for a favor. Not a big one, a small, almost insignificant one. Could you lend me that book? Could you help me understand this one detail? This is named after Benjamin Franklin, who famously won over a political rival by asking to borrow a rare book. The psychology here is devastatingly simple. It relies on cognitive dissonance. The human brain hates inconsistency. If I do a favor for you, my brain must justify why I did it. I am doing something nice for this person, therefore, I must like them or value them. My brain shifts its perception of you to match my actions. I have essentially manipulated myself into liking you. Imagine applying this in a toxic work environment. You have an enemy who is constantly undermining you. Instead of fighting them, ask them for a small piece of advice on a project they are an expert in. By granting you that small favor, their brain begins to categorize you as someone worthy of their help. The hostility begins to melt, replaced by a subtle, unconscious bond. You have silenced their aggression, by exploiting their need for internal consistency. But what if you need more than just a favor? What if you need to mirror their very soul? Mirroring 2.0. Emotional pacing and the illusion of a soulmate. Most people know about basic mirroring, copying someone's posture or hand gestures to build rapport. That is amateur hour. Dark mirroring or mirroring 2.0 is about emotional pacing. It is the art of reflecting not just what they are doing, but the speed and intensity of their internal state. If someone is talking to you with high energy and anxiety, and you respond with calm, slow sentences, you are creating a wall. You are telling them you are different. But if you match their frantic pace for 3 minutes and then, this is the key, you slowly start to slow down your own tempo, they will follow you. This is the pacing and leading technique used in advanced NLP. You enter their world. You earn their trust by being their reflection, and then you lead them out into the world you want them to inhabit. Napoleon was a master of this. He could speak to the common soldier in the language of the mud and the musket, and then transition seamlessly into the refined rhetoric of a statesman. He made everyone feel like he was one of them, while he was secretly the architect of their destiny. This unshakable rapport is a cage that the victim enters willingly. Subscribe now, because the next lesson will make you rethink everything you believe about human nature. We are moving from rapport into the incremental surrender of the will, the foot in the door, the art of the incremental surrender. No one jumps into a volcano. They are led there one step at a time. The foot in the door technique is the psychological law of commitment and consistency. If you can get someone to agree to a small, trivial request, they are statistically far more likely to agree to a much larger, related request later. In a classic study, researchers asked homeowners to place a tiny 3-inch sign in their window that said, "Be a safe driver." Almost everyone said yes. 2 weeks later, they asked those same homeowners to place a massive, ugly billboard in their front yard with the same message. Over 70% agreed, compared to only 17% of people who hadn't been asked for the small sign first. Why? Because once they agreed to the small sign, they began to see themselves as supporters of road safety. To refuse the big sign would be to contradict their new self-identity. In your life, never start with your true demand. Start with a yes that costs them nothing. If you want a raise, start by asking your boss for a small 5-minute meeting to discuss growth opportunities. Once they have committed their time and their identity as a supportive mentor, the actual request for more money becomes the logical next step in their own story. You aren't forcing them. You are merely helping them stay consistent with the person they have already decided to be. But what if the story they are telling themselves is one you want to change entirely? Gaslighting light, shifting the narrative through nuance. True gaslighting is a form of severe abuse, but gaslighting light is a subtle social strategy used to shift the perception of reality. It isn't about telling big, blatant lies. It's about introducing a slight, persistent doubt into the other person's perspective. Are you sure that's what happened? I remember it a bit differently, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought we agreed on this, but I guess I must have misheard you. When used sporadically and with a tone of genuine concern, this forces the other person to rely more on your version of events than their own. The goal isn't to make them crazy. It's to make you the authority on reality. Think about a relationship where one person is always the one, remembering the details. Over time, the other person stops trusting their own memory and starts checking in with the partner for the truth. You become the compass. You become the source. Historical manipulators use this to rewrite the past to justify the future. They didn't burn books. They just changed the interpretation of the words inside them. If this insight opened your eyes, hit like so the algorithm knows you're not afraid of the truth. But how do you keep someone coming back for more? How do you ensure their loyalty isn't just a decision, but an addiction? The scarcity of attention, the variable reward schedule. The most addictive thing in the world is not a drug. It is the feeling of being seen. And the most powerful way to control that addiction is through a variable reward schedule. This is the same logic used in slot machines. If you win every time, the game becomes boring. If you lose every time, you quit. But if you win, occasionally, at unpredictable intervals, you will stay at that machine until your pockets are empty. In social dynamics, this means being inconsistent with your attention. Be warm, present, and validating for 3 days. Then on the 4th day, be slightly distant. Not mean, just occupied. Short texts, less eye contact. The other person will experience a sudden drop in their dopamine levels. They will wonder what they did wrong. They will start working harder to get back that warmth they felt before. You are training them to crave your validation. You are making your attention a scarce resource. And as we know from economic law, scarcity increases value. If you provide constant validation, it becomes worthless. If you provide it variably, you become their master. Would you use this tactic or protect yourself from it? Comment your take below. Now, let's look at the illusion of freedom, the choice paradox, the trap of 2 paths. If you want someone to do something, never give them a single command. Give them 2 choices, both of which lead to the outcome you want. This is the illusion of choice. Instead of asking your partner, "Do you want to go to dinner?" ask, "Should we go to the Italian place or the sushi spot tonight?" By choosing a restaurant, they have already subconsciously agreed to the idea of going to dinner. They feel in control because they made a decision, but the parameters of that decision were set by you. This is the bedrock of professional negotiation. Do you want to sign the contract today, or would you prefer we finalize the details on Monday morning? Either way, the contract is getting signed. You are moving them along a corridor with 2 doors. Both doors lead to the same room. But to truly control the movement, you must first set the anchor. Anchoring bias, defining the psychological baseline. The first piece of information offered in a negotiation or interaction sets the anchor for everything that follows. If I tell you a watch is worth $10,000 and then discount it to $2,000, you think you're getting the deal of a lifetime. If I start at $500, you'll fight me down to $300. The $10,000 was a lie, but it served as a psychological anchor that made the $2,000 seem reasonable. In social settings, you can anchor someone's perception of you by the first stories you tell or the first standards you set. If you walk into a new job and immediately establish yourself as someone who works late but doesn't do busy work, you have anchored their expectations. When you leave at 5 p.m. on a Friday, they won't judge you because the anchor was already set. You define the scale. You decide what expensive is, what hard work is, and what kindness looks like. If you don't set the anchor, someone else will set it for you. The even-if fallacy, exploiting the above-average trap. Every human being believes they are above average in something. Intelligence, driving, empathy, or taste. This is the primus inter pares effect. To control someone, you must identify where they believe they are superior, and then frame your request as something only someone with their unique ability could handle. I know this is a complex problem, and honestly, most people wouldn't be able to grasp the nuances, but I thought you might have an insight. By doing this, you are challenging their ego. If they refuse to help, they are admitting they aren't as smart or insightful as you just claimed they were. They will often agree to a task they don't even want to do, just to prove that your assessment of their superiority was correct. This is seduction at its highest level. You aren't praising them. You are daring them to live up to the image you have created of them. And finally, the most powerful trick of all, the one that ensures they will never see the strings, the reveal. Manipulation through calculated vulnerability. The most effective way to hide a lie is to tell a smaller, embarrassing truth. The most effective way to hide a manipulation is to reveal a fake one. When you want someone to trust you completely, you should confess a vulnerability or a mistake that makes you look human and slightly flawed. I have to be honest with you, I've been really struggling with my confidence lately. This triggers their empathy and lowers their guard. They feel that because you were honest about something negative, everything else you say must be the absolute truth. This is the tactic of the master fraudster Joseph Weil. He didn't look like a criminal, he looked like a victim. He used his vulnerabilities to make his marks feel powerful. And while they were busy feeling superior to him, he was emptying their bank accounts. In your own life, a calculated moment of weakness can be the ultimate shield. If people think they see your dark side or your flaws, they will stop looking for your real strategies. You are hiding in plain sight. The weight of the crown is heavy, and the strings of power are sharp. You now have the 10 tricks. You understand the silence, the dissonance, the mirroring, the anchors, and the fake reveals. You see how easy it is to move people when you stop treating them as individuals and start treating them as systems. But here is the final, dark truth. The moment you start manipulating others, you become a prisoner of your own strategy. You can never truly be sure if people love you for who you are, or if they are simply reacting to the architecture you've built around them. You gain the world, but you lose the ability to have a genuine connection. Is it worth it? That is a question only you can answer. If this lecture has unsettled you, good. It means you still have a conscience. If it has empowered you, use that power wisely. Subscribe, because the next lesson will make you rethink everything you believe about human nature. Remember, influence is silent, power is invisible, and you are no longer a spectator. Go out and see the strings, or better yet, start pulling them.